If you're wondering how to make more sales by connecting with your current students, then this video is for you. Let's get it. I get asked all the time, how do you know if your course is good? And I think there's a few answers here. Number one, what are your clients saying about the course? Number two, are your clients getting results from the course? Number three, are you making more money based on referrals and repurchases? Three very different things. Now the question becomes, how can we make this quantitative? Meaning, like, how can we turn this into actual data that we can use in our business? Most people are just kind of, I'd say, like most course creators, just kind of take feedback as it comes, and maybe they have some things come through Instagram or YouTube, and clients sharing things randomly on the internet, or, the angry refund email, right? Like there's lots of ways this can go. And so I'm a huge believer in systemizing it as much as possible. So you're consistently getting that feedback that you're looking for. Because, yeah, as much as we want to get that internal validation wheel going for ourselves so that we believe our course is good and we know our course is good based on the energy and the work and the effort we put into it, it is nice to get that external validation, isn't it? Like it does help boost our confidence when it comes to like selling this dang thing. So I'm gonna walk through some of the surveys that we use in our agency and in the programs that we build and in this program, this free course that is now available, that this whole behind the scenes series is about, so that you can lift and shift them for your own. Hey, you want a shortcut? Okay, I got it for you. So the first thing to mention is the number one metric we use is called the Net Promoter Score, NPS, Net Promoter Score. Now, this is like a question I guarantee you've been asked a million times, um, from softwares that you use, apps you use, hotel stays that you've had. All like if you look at any kind of major company out there, I guarantee you they're using this some way, somehow in their business. Here's the question. Enough wind up. On a scale of 1 to 10, how likely are you to refer us or recommend us to colleagues, friends, family? How likely are you to recommend us? Scale of 1 to 10. That's the big question. And like I said, in our agency, we use this almost weekly. We ask this of our clients. We ask them at all phases of our journey. We ask them after onboarding, at the end of their architect day, when we've mapped out their framework and their outline. We ask them at many points during the build process when they're working with one of our script writers, and graphic designers. We ask them after the video production stage, at the end of the whole trip. Like we have multiple data points broken down by what phase of the process they're giving us a recommendation for. And here's how that breaks down. Now, I just Googled Net Promoter Score. You can see there's all kinds of stuff out there on the internet for it. You can see over here, we've got 0 to 6. So if you ask them on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely are you to recommend us? And they give you 0 to 6, they're considered a detractor, meaning when someone asks them about your company, it's likely that they will say things that will result in that questioner going somewhere else. It's really important. And I know it's weird, right? Because it's 0 to 6. You would think like 0 to 3 would be a detractor or something. But no, it's actually 0 to 6. They're not super happy with whatever it is that you've delivered. Now, your passives, they're 7 or 8. They're the people who would probably, if they had to buy again, they would go and look at other offers. They're shopping around. That's your passives. And then you've got promoters. These are your raving fans, right? This term we've all heard about a million times. They're your raving fans. They're loyal to you. They will keep buying from you. And they will oftentimes go out and find you new business, meaning like they're so lit up by what you're doing, by what you're saying. that they're going to post about you on the internet. They're going to tell their friends they're working with you. They're going to, in our instance, we find a lot of our clients will go and like screen share the assets that we produce with other colleagues and be like, dude, can you look at what they did? Like, I just talked to them for an hour and like, look at all this. Like, it's so much better than anything I ever do. Like, that is very, very, very common. So, again, you've got your detractors, your passives, and your promoters. There's two things I want to share about this. Okay. The first thing is that most people are scared to ask this question because they're scared they're going to get 0 to 6. When I hear 0 to 6, I light up and I lean in because it is so easy to take a detractor and make them a promoter. If you take someone who's having a bad experience, you ask them about it, they give you feedback, and then you fix the freaking problem, that is better customer service than like the grand majority of companies out there, right? So again, it's like when I hear a detractor, which we don't really hear that, honestly, we really don't hear that much of, but if we do, then they're very easy to turn into promoters. The challenging piece is this passives, because a lot of times people who are 7 and 8, like they don't know what's going to make their experience better. They just know they think it's just okay right now. But again, it's a good data point to have. So that's thing one is don't be afraid to ask the question, especially if you have a detractor. Try and reframe it for yourself as like, awesome, I'm about to have a promoter. And then now the second thing I want to say about this is you can leverage this for sales based on the follow-up questions that you ask. Okay? Because if you know someone's a promoter, that's who you ask for referrals. That's who you give another offer to. Like, if you know they love you and would do anything for you, those are the people that you can double down on to then generate more sales in a way that works for you, your business model, and what you're offering. So first, I'm going to share with you how this translates to our company. So if you are a service provider or have some kind of business unrelated to course creation, even if it's just one-on-one coaching, you can leverage that in your business. And then I'm also going to show what I'm doing with this free course and how I'm planning to implement it there. And honestly, we do this for all of our clients. So we'll tweak some of the questions based on their voice, their offer, things like that. But we're adamant that we put feedback surveys inside of every program that we build because most people, they just wait until the end of a course. And the truth is, most people aren't going to get to the end of your course. Like, even some of the best, most fabulous course creators out there in the world, it's like rare to have a course completion rate, I'd say above 80%. So if they need to complete like 95 to 100% of the course to get the actual questions, to get feedback, like you're just not getting feedback. And so you want feedback at multiple points in the program. You want feedback at multiple points in the process. So here's how we do that in the agency. If you're a service provider, I recommend you actually ask when you're on the phone with people, because if you're just sending them a form, it feels like you're giving them more work to do. My clients don't even see this form. My team asks this based on where they are, like which milestone they're completing in our process. And so here you can see how likely is it that you'd recommend to friends or colleagues. They give us a score. And then there's a follow-up question based on their rating. So if they rate 9 or 10, what specifically would you say to someone to inspire them to work with us? I can plug that out. That's social media content, that's testimonial content, that's like all kinds of stuff I can use that for. Another question you can ask here is, amazing. Do you have any friends or family or colleagues that you feel like we should know now? Like, no pressure, but we'd love to get to know your people, right? Then 7 to 8, what would it take for you to rate working with us a 10, right? So these are our passives. They're a little more challenging to get to an 8, 9, or 10, but it is doable. So always good to ask that follow-up question. And then 6 or less, what's the reason or reasons for your score? We do a little fact finding. We understand what their issue is, and then it goes to the team to fix it. So it just depends on what the issue is for who is going to be the person to fix it, which I should say, like, if you are an agency owner, it is completely normal. If you're moving from solopreneur, meaning it's just you control all the variables, maybe you have like one or two other people, and uh, you're used to a really, really high net promoter score, and then you start moving into growth mode and you're leveraging employees or contractors for the delivery. there's like a serious learning journey in there where you now have to bring these employees up to speed. Your SOPs get better over time. Client communication there's a lot of things that you just need time to get better at if you're doing this for the first time. So as someone who, I mean, I brought on employees in 2022, I think. So about 2.5 years ago. And in the last 2.5 years, there was a moment where like our NPS dipped a little bit before it came back up. And that's because of that growth mode phase. So I think more than anything, it's about hiring the people who have the same value set because when there was an issue, my team wants to solve it. Like we're none of us are okay with anything less than an excellent client experience. So, and they can all accept feedback really well. So I think it's important to like give yourself a little grace and choose the right team so it's not all on you that feels like you have to carry the torch for standard of success in your company. Now, when we're using our Net Promoter Score inside of the programs that we build, it's a little different. So here you can see this is our template we use internally for feedback surveys. There's 3 different feedback surveys. There's the Net Promoter Score, user experience, which is really all about like the portal, and then the testimonial grab, which is a little more direct in asking for testimonials and referrals and things like that. And again, I put these earlier in the program. So survey 1, I usually put at the end of mod 1. Survey 2, I usually put at the end of mod 2. Testimonial grab, I like to do about like 2/3 of the way through the program, but it is individualized. So it just kind of depends on the client and the transformation, the student, and lots of things. But that's like a general guideline, I'd say. So mod 1, mod 2, and then like 2/3 of the way through the program. Sometimes with mini courses like the one I'm doing, I'll combine a couple. So I'll combine like Net Promoter Score and user experience or, survey 2 and 3 so that there's not, a survey for after every other video. You'll see here I broke it down a little differently. This is just based on Kajabi, which is where we build most of our programs. And you'll see that there's not a direct question linked to each of the detractors, passives, and promoters. I know there are softwares out there that can do that for you. And if I had a business model that was all course education, then I would definitely get one of those softwares. But that's not my main model. My main model is agency. What we have works for us. And in this use case, like for a free course, I just don't think I need to go buy another software to get this whole idea of the logic behind I mean, it would just be a logic function of if someone says 7, then they get asked this question next. Okay, so but there's a lot of forms builders and NPS specific tools out there that if you have a like course creation education company, I'd recommend go doing some research and looking into those. So I've pulled these 3 questions into my Kajabi. So you can see here I have 3 lessons. This lesson, Architect Your Trademark Worthy Framework, is where the real work begins, I'd say. These first 2 lessons, the action steps are pretty easy, pretty simple. You can get them done in 7 minutes. But building a framework, it just takes a little more intention, a little more time, which is why I put my survey here, this first survey. And you can see they're exactly the same 3 questions. I may change this to be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like actual numbers, but it's fine for now. I will say I chose to send a completion email to me. So anytime someone completes this, I get an email. It's helpful for me to just start seeing that information and that data. Depending on how many students you have going through things, you might decide like one piece of feedback is enough to iterate and make a change. Some people, depending on the volume that they're doing, it's like, I got to hear this from at least 10 people before I go and make a change because it's harder to turn a cruise ship than a steamboat or a speedboat. So, it just, again, there's some flexibility here, but for me and where I'm at, like, I just want to see the data coming in. And then as I see it coming in, I'll make decisions about what to change, what to add, what to update, etc. The other really awesome way you can leverage these to create sales is to have automations and triggers based on questions. So this question, right, is my Net Promoter Score question. I can create tags for responses. So let's say someone has 1 to 6, I can give them a tag, toolkit detractor right? I can add that tag. And then that tag, when someone's given that tag, it can fire something off. Like maybe it fires off an email that says, hey, thanks so much for responding to this. I'd love to know more. Are you open to hop on the call for 15 minutes? I'd love to add some value and provide some more insight, right? Just making something off the cuff. So now I have the opportunity to actually talk to someone and turn a detractor into a promoter. Now, if you come down here, like let's say here I add like toolkit because the name of the program is the Course Creators Toolkit. Toolkit promoter. Cool. Here I could fire off an email that's like, oh my gosh, I'd love to interview you for our YouTube and hear more about this. Like click the link to book a call and let's talk. So there's like a lot of different, you can send them to an email sequence. You can send them I don't know, like a thank you message. Like it could be a million different things and it depends on your system for the automations that you can actually do and things you can trigger. But I feel like this is one of those things that's very under leveraged. It's so easy to set up and it's worth its time because it's a system that you set up once and it just keeps running and it provides you with what you're looking for in your business. Like, are you looking for more video testimonials? Great. Once you see someone's a promoter, ask them for that. Are you looking for more referrals? Great. Once you see someone's a promoter, ask them for that. Like similarly, detractors. Are you looking for less refunds? Great. See that they're a detractor earlier, get on the phone with them, add value, fix the problems, don't get the refund request. Like it's so simple. It requires intention though, and it requires forethought. So if you want my access to these, then you can just lift and shift them straight from our free course. If you go below, you can get access to the free program, and you'll see these questions in there that you can use to plug into your program or plug into your services agency model, whatever kind of services model that you're providing. Overall, ask for feedback, including client results, and then leverage that to create more sales in the business in the way that you want. Thanks so much, and I will see you in the free course.